my first campaign I ran in March, just for myself. And ever since, I've just been gathering clients, looking a lot of your stuff online, going through the course again, doing some of my own research based on the stuff you teach. You taught. And now I'm up to my third or fourth recurring client now that's giving me the monthly retainer. So I thought, okay, maybe it's good now. I've got the fundamentals. Let's have a chat with Andy and see if there's more room to improve. I've got some stuff written down over the last few weeks that I wanted to ask you about. I thought I wanted to first hear a little bit more from you, like your side, what your procedure of doing things is, like your standard way of operating, basically. And then I'll have some specific questions that I can sprinkle in.
Oh, okay. So
as we mentioned,
I haven't really written them up. I really should, but I do have ways I do things in my head because mostly I do it, nobody else is doing it. So, which ones are you talking about? Like managing the account, or like onboarding clients, or even getting clients?
Basically, all of them. Besides getting clients, just managing the account itself. Once someone says, "Andy, I'd like to work with you. Here's the first monthly invoice I've paid to you." And then I would just like to know, like, how do you take over an account? What are the things you do the first time you take over someone's account?
Okay. So there's a few different things. So if a client already has an account and they're running there and you take over it, obviously what you don't want to do is make it worse. That's important. Like, you don't make it worse. So I will try not to actually make adjustments to their actual campaigns that they have running. All right. What I want, like, this is from an IT background, I want a fallback position. If I make a change, it doesn't work, I want to be able to fall back to where I was beforehand. So if I look at a set of campaigns and go, these aren't created in the way I would create them, let me go and create them in my structure and see if I can beat those ones. Okay, because I've got a theory that I can beat those with the structure that has worked for other people, but maybe it won't in this case. I will not go into their campaigns and start mucking around with them, hacking about. I will go and create new campaigns that replace the old ones. All right. And even the act of replacing them, I will do it quite carefully. Maybe I like using the example of blacksmiths Dublin, because nobody looks for blacksmiths anymore. So you can use that example. So if they got a campaign and it's targeting blacksmiths Dublin and all sorts of stuff, and I think I could create a better version, I'll go and create a campaign or series of campaigns targeting those keywords and related ones. And I might turn off their campaign. But if their campaign, if I look at it and it's bringing in lots of other things, but I've just identified these particular search terms as ones I want to manage, then I will go and create a campaign negative keyword list of all the ones that I want to, all those search terms that I want to send to my campaigns, and I'll apply it to their campaigns. And I might call that negative keyword list a migration negatives or something like that. So I just apply that to their campaigns. So their ads no longer show when somebody searches Dublin blacksmiths, and my campaigns will pick that up. But all the other stuff that their campaigns showed for will still work. Okay. And if after a month or a week or two, my stuff isn't working, not working as well as theirs, and the way to find out is by actually asking them, have you noticed what's happened? But not looking at the interface going, oh, look, my CTR's up, my CPC's are down, or up, or whatever. Oh, my conversion rate looks better, blah, blah, blah. The conversion bracket might not be working correctly. You might have generated more phone calls, but they're all tire kickers. Nobody's actually, oh, do you sell swords? I'd like to know, or whatever. And they're not actually, big clients or whatever. So it might look like in the interface that I'm doing better, but the client has to tell me, yes, this seems to be going the right direction, or
they have a feeling the inquiries increase.
They have a feeling, or the phones, or the guys on the phones are like saying these are really good calls coming through, or whatever it is. Most important, I'm trying to not make it worse. Okay, if it ends up being similar or they haven't noticed a difference, then I'm like, okay, happy days. I've set up campaigns that I will work on, and I can start migrating all the other stuff, or maybe even turn off their campaigns. Right, but if it doesn't seem to be working, then I can turn off my campaigns and just remove that negative keyword list from their campaigns, and their campaigns after a few days should start running as normal.
Okay. And how do you split the budget between their campaigns being still ongoing and your budget?
Well, I'll have to have a look at that depends on how it's set up. Are they maximizing the budget anyway? Is there a bit of leeway for it? could I agree with the client? Look, I could tell them this is what I'm going to do, and they do like to hear that you've got a controlled way of working like that. Let's say they're spending 30K a month, no, 1K a day, you know, and you're like, they don't want you mucking it up. They've got like phones ringing or leads coming through. So you say, like, I will set this up, and I tell them exactly what I've just told you. I'm going to set it up like this, and then I'm going to add a negative, send it all there. And if it doesn't work, I can always fall back by turning those off and removing that. And they can get that, and they go, oh, I like that. I like the fact that it's controlled. This makes sense. And they'll give you a lot of leeway knowing that you're going to work that way. And then you could say, look, could I get maybe a little bit of budget to do that? Or you just say, look, I'm going to take budget, because the Dublin Blacksmith stuff seems to be spending like 100 a day. So I'm just going to like give that 100-day budget to those campaigns, and it shouldn't make any difference. Shouldn't. Yeah. So it's all about being logical and having a plan, and them seeing that you're logical and have a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Now, if it's a client and they've not run any ads at all, then in the call I'd have had with them beforehand, I would have been explaining that my goal is to build campaigns based on all the sort of keywords and services and products and locations that you've identified. We'll load it all up. We're going to have a low budget. We're going to see what ads show. I'm going to then come to you after a week or maybe 2 weeks with the data, probably a week, and say, right, this seems to have a lot of potential. And they might say, yeah, okay, it is, but they're not great kind of clients. This, and I might say, well, this one has not quite as much search volume. And they were like, oh, that's really high ticket. Really want that sort of stuff. So I'm coming to them with data, and I'm trying to get that data on as low an ad spend as possible. So I tell them this beforehand. So that's what often gets people to sign up. It's like, oh, right, you're going to find out on a whiff of ad spend what everyone's searching for, so we can make a business decision on what to focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it might be like there's 10 or 100 services, products, whatever. I'll come, well, these three seem to be the most. Which do you think are the best to go for? Then they'll say, well, let's pick that one, turn everything else off, put all the budget behind that. And then not only do you put the budget behind that, and it might be 10 a day, 20 a day, 50 a day, put all that budget behind once instead of being spread across 100. But now everybody in the project suddenly knows, oh, we're focusing on like swords or whatever it is, flower delivery, X, Y, Z, rather than something else. And then you look at the ad and go, could do better than that. Because when you load them all up, you kind of load them generic-ish. But then when everybody's like focused on something, you actually do the search, see your ad compared to theirs, and go, oh, okay, they're all saying next day delivery, and why not? And all these other things, and they look at their landing page or our landing page, or you identify you don't even have a landing page for it, but there's a lot of potential. It'd just been going to the homepage. Yeah. So the onboarding would be different for them, trying to find out on a low ad spend where to focus by actually running ads. Right. You do the keyword research and discuss it with them. But I tell them, look, that's just estimates. We have to load it to find out what the actual search volume is and what the CPCs are and what your impression share is as well.
Yeah, and I think for the keyword research I saw in one of your more advanced webinars that you uploaded recently, you pull you pull basically the whole keyword planner from Google with you do a few searches on the things you think work well. You pull the whole keyword planner to Sheet, kind of spot check them, and to see if most of it makes sense, and then you just load the whole list, see where the volume's at, to make an educated decision on where to focus in on next. And so when you get an account from someone that's already been running campaigns, for example, they've been a client recently of mine, they had just a few search campaigns and they had everything on automatic bidding with broad match. So there's a whole bunch of crazy search terms. I think even last 30 days there was 50K search terms they showed for. And I've been trying to use your search term analyzer to group them up in the pivot table. But it's just also so much nonsense that just shows in it. How do you go about that process?
Well, first off, if you've got like 50,000 records, then Google Sheets is going to run out of steam. So I do it in Excel then. So I think the formulas should work the same. I haven't actually tried those particular formulas because the sheet that I shared on LinkedIn, I use different formulas than what I normally do, just because I think they weren't as long, so somebody looking at it could try and figure it out. I presume those work as well in Excel. So I am actually doing this exercise for a company. They've asked me to analyze their search terms for the last 3 months. Or no, they wanted me to look at their account. They've got an agency managing it. They want to make sure that they're getting the best out of it. So I had a quick call with them. I looked over their shoulder at it. I gave them some tips. Said, look, you're losing a lot of impression share due to budget. That's an issue. That's like the biggest first red flag. Not the first red flag. The other one is like looking at your search terms and seeing if they're spending a lot of money on things they shouldn't be, but they weren't, and that was fine. Then I said, right, download all the data, all the search term data, and actually the search term conversion data, so I can join it and see which search terms are generating which conversions, the actual names of the conversions, because you can't see that in the interface. Download those 2 bits of data. I joined them, and I'm doing it in Excel because Google Sheets will just run out of steam way too fast. So what I'm then doing is looking to see, are there things that we shouldn't be showing for? Like, so it's an Irish business. Are they showing for stuff like the UK, London, whatever? You know, I'm looking for any instances of things that they shouldn't be showing for, and then those should be negatives. So I'm coming up with potential negatives that should be in the account. And I'm looking for things that could be new campaigns, like positives. For instance, if I saw, you know, whatever, a service and it had allocation in it, Dublin or Cork or Galway, because they're in Ireland, I'd be like, oh, okay, I don't need to see all of them added, but people search by location. So that's a potential campaign, is each service multiplied by all the locations in Ireland, all the counties or whatever. So I'm looking for those, and I'll just report back on that.
Right.
If there's like 50,000 of them, using that categorizer definitely helps. Where you're trying to find words that appear in in big groups or cohorts or segments of all these search terms.
Yeah, once like location, like search phrase with location next to it, that becomes a whole list of the same one with different.
The thing is, you will find that like you don't want to add like 200 of these locations to know. You just go, oh, okay, people do search by location. That's enough for me to know that. What else do they search by? Oh, there's a lot of people who are searching with reviews, or how do I, or how to XYZ. You know, or price or cost of thingy, you know, price of a price to get a will done, you know, for instance, but they haven't put the word solicitors or lawyers, you know, so there's some people looking for prices and costs, and other people are looking for will solicitors. That's not what that client does, but it's just an example. So you start getting ideas of like, and then, so I would group all the stuff that have prices in it or cost and go, whoa, all those search terms, there's actually like 300 of them. A lot of them get hardly any search volume because they're quite long tail exact match type. They're search terms, aren't they? But that group is quite big. You can probably hear a dog. There's somebody got the door. Then there will be all the search terms that contain the word solicitors, which in UK and Ireland means lawyers, and then lawyers and law firms, attorneys, all those kind of things. Then you're actually going to have the ones that have prices of solicitors. So they're looking for a solicitor, but they're looking for the price, versus people looking for the price to create something.
Would you say that's a good targeted long-tail keyword for our purposes, where we're looking for the commercial ones, right? Would you say the one looking for prices for solicitors are good, or is it more like someone still trying to do this?
I think prices is better than how to, isn't it?
Yeah, somewhere in between.
Yeah, exactly. The price shopping. Yeah, they're shopping. They're shopping around. They're trying to figure out, is this worth me doing myself, or shall I get somebody to do it? What is the price of doing it? Yeah, so if somebody's doing research, they're not ready to buy it. They're not looking for will, I don't know if people type in will solicitors. Will solicitors Kildare, the county, I mean. They're not at that stage where they want to ring somebody. Yeah. But like if they type in prices, how much do will solicitors charge? You know, they're actually looking for somebody, aren't they? And then another one of, then slightly further up the funnel, I suppose, would be people looking for prices for wills, or cost to create a will. You know, they might be wanting to do it online. I don't know. Yeah, but you can see, but you can start seeing those groups when you start grouping all the search terms together. It gives you a good feel, and that's why I prefer to use a tool like that and do it myself rather than go AI, go and figure this out, because I start getting a feel for it of how people search. Because there's quite a difference between how can I or can I, you know, if you think about it, how can I is like somebody wants to DIY it. Somebody, can I do such and such, is like, is it possible to do the thing? Yeah, just so even tiny little words can make a big difference between with the search intent, right? So interesting part is for this, I suppose, audit client, although I'm not even charging them for it, just to analyze all these search terms. I didn't ask for the keywords in the campaigns. But first off, I just wanted the search term data. I didn't want to know which campaign and keywords the search term came from. First off, because that would explode the number of records, the rows that they return to me, because it wouldn't be just, blacksmith Dublin. It'd be blacksmith Dublin appeared for like 20 different keywords, which is often what happens. It's cannibalized around the account. So I just want to know the search terms and how they're working in the account. And often that's what I do on a call with somebody. I'll just look at the search terms. Okay, let's have a look at your search terms. I don't care how you've structured your account. You might have, because you might not have done it right. Sorry, right in my view. Hello. I got somebody who wants to say hello. All right, Bella. Bella, we'll go out and play in a bit. Yeah. What was I saying? So, but that's what often I'll tell businesses, that they think they're stood on a concrete parking lot, big open parking lot, all the keywords. This is the account. I look over there. There's that campaign. There's that campaign. There's that keyword, etc. I tell them, but actually underneath them, there's like molten lava and it's moving around, So you think that this is how it's all working, and that campaign over there, your brand campaign is getting this amount of volume, but actually brand is popping up over in there in that campaign because you've inadvertently got a brand keyword in there, or you haven't got a brand negative in there and it's just picking it up. Yeah. So underneath, search terms can go everywhere. And like I sometimes will say, it's like you might go, oh, this search term is too expensive for us. We have to drop the bids on it, and you push it down, but it pops up somewhere else in the account, like an airbed or a water bed or whatever. You push it down there, it pops up over there. So I say, so that's me explaining to them why you want control over it, or why I like to do it that way. There's plenty of ways of doing Google ads, and there's a lot of people use Performance Max a lot and algorithms and let Google figure it out. But I prefer to actually get these learnings, so I can tell the business owner, and they prefer it when I say that. That's what I would rather do, is not spend a load of money, not let the algorithm spend a load of money to learn. We'll try and spend a little bit of money, and then we'll get actual learnings, and then you can make a business decision on it. And they really like to hear that. Yeah.
Right. So you have them identified a whole bunch of buckets of keywords, different themes. You could split all these up in themed campaigns, for example, right? Blacksmith in Kildare. But also maybe locksmith Kildare, or I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that could result, depending on how much data they have, how big the account is, could be 2 campaigns, could be 50 campaigns. For the initial test, do you create all these different campaigns already, or do you just put it all in a single test campaign and just see what the keywords do?
Well, if I see, obviously you play a bit by ear. It depends if you've got loads of campaigns already set up, or you can see that blacksmiths has a lot of volume and locksmiths has a lot of volume. It's worth me separating them then, isn't it?
Right.
Into different campaigns with different, right, at the camp. So you've got blacksmith campaign targeting, let's say we're doing the UK, and there's 2,000 cities I'm targeting because they're national. So blacksmiths London, blacksmiths Birmingham, blacksmiths Manchester, etc. I would have blacksmiths location as the campaign, and I'd have 2,000 ad groups in it for each city. Then I'd have locksmiths campaign, 2,000 ad groups. And it just means when you look at the account, you can see, oh, blacksmiths doing like this, spent this amount, this many conversions, and locksmiths is different. You'd have them separated because the business would want to know, oh, how's a blacksmith stuff doing? How's a locksmith stuff doing? It just makes it easier for you. The other reason why you'd want to separate it, you might give different budgets to it, to each of them. So like got a client and they do, lawyers, and they want to test but they want to focus a bit more on the divorce and family law stuff. So rather than it being in the big budget for the whole account, we've separated those campaigns into their own budget now, and we're going to treat them slightly different. We're going to run tests and increase bids and see what it does, etc., etc. I wouldn't be able to do that if it was all lumped into one campaign. Yeah.
Okay. So I get that if you want to have an overview and clear segmentation so you can optimize. Just for example, that initial week that you start working with the client and you just want to get impression data, is that a deliberate step you take, just the impression data, and still split them up already into different campaigns?
I probably would split them up to how I would have them finally anyway.
Okay. Okay.
Because
I also do it.
Yeah, it's like,
I was wondering if it's a waste of energy. If you're
no,
going to remove
because
most of it
I find it's
afterwards.
more of a waste of energy to do it one way and then go, oh, that's now worth me doing it properly. Oh, properly, my view.
Okay.
So like if the client serves 10 counties in Ireland, they've got, goodness me, yeah. Okay, so if they serve 10 counties and they have 10 services, then I'm potentially creating 100 campaigns there.
Yeah.
But I might, for speed, just create 10 campaigns and dump all 10 services into the County Kildare campaign and all 10 into the Dublin, because, and just get that loaded, because I have to go into the 10 campaigns and set the targeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the location and all that sort of stuff. To be honest, you can actually then download that to Google, to Excel or Google Sheets, grab the location targeting, create the campaigns in Google Ads Editor, upload it, and it's got all the location target. So it'd be fairly quick. But if I'm like, I have no idea if there's any volume for this at all, then I might just go a bit faster. Yeah. Or I might create, the fastest that you can knock up would be like, you create one campaign, you target individually all 10 counties, and you load up all 10 services as keywords. So like blacksmiths near me, and you have an ad, but the ad's not going to be very good. It's not going to be targeting that county. It's just going to be an ad. But if
that's fine, right? In the beginning, you
could kind of do that fast, but I would literally want to go and load it a bit better than that in the first place.
Okay, a bit more structure. Okay, right. And then you've loaded that initial week. You've got the initial week of data, for example. Okay, before I go there, actually, what's enough data? Like you generally say in the videos, and I remember this was one of my first questions to you, and I still couldn't figure it out. Is you saying, okay, and just get some data so you can make an informed business decision. So first question is, when do you know you've got enough data?
It's earlier, I think, than statistical significance. It's earlier. Right. You will start seeing that, oh, wow, we're getting a load of people, a load of ads showing for that service and none for that. It'll be fairly quick. You could be like, oh, there's nothing showing for blacksmiths. Nobody looking for blacksmiths anymore. Or shepherds. Damn it. Tons of people looking for plumbers, though.
Cool. Yeah, got it.
So, like, and that you don't have to wait. Let's wait another week to find out if really nobody's looking for blacksmiths. You go, no, that ain't working. This has got a lot of volume. Yeah. Like, and you could leave the blacksmith, shepherds, carpenters, all those things that nobody's even searching for. You can leave them running in case somebody does search, but you go, right, we're just going to leave them running, but we're going to focus on this. But if somebody does search for water damage restoration, it's very low search volume, but it's high ticket. We might have it, just leave the ad running in case there's a flood somewhere, and boom, we get them coming through all of a sudden, Sure.
All right. And then once you've got that initial volume data, basically impression data, how do you decide which campaign makes the most sense to advise the business owner to spend more time and energy on?
Well, I would come to them with a report and we both look at it. Now, it could be on a Zoom call where we discuss it, or it could literally just be in Basecamp where I just post, look, this is what happened last week. We'll get more of this, and this. From my side, it looks like more potential for these. And it's not just the impression data, it's like the impression share as well. So divide the impressions by impression share to give you the estimated search volume and go, well, actually, we're losing out on these because we don't have enough budget because we've only got 10 a day. That's fine. Or we're losing out on these because like we're not bidding enough. So we'd have to pay more to get more of these.
Yeah.
And then, Mr. Business Owner, which do you want to go for? And they might say, well, out of the list of like 10 that are ranked, so this one's got the highest volume, they might go, well, the fourth one, actually, water damage restoration is much more important to us than toilet repairs or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And so you're always constrained by the budget, right? And then you can either optimize for impression share loss due to budget, or you can say we're going to remove some of the other campaigns and bid more on this single campaign. Try to get that volume. It sounds like you generally rank them by estimated volume, judge it by the impression share.
So, yes, yeah, we do rank them that way. But the business, ideally, you want the business bought into it, and they give you a business case or business decision about what to go for. Because, like I said, just because something's a lot of search volume doesn't mean it's what the business actually wants to go for.
Right.
Wants to focus on initially.
Right. That was actually my question there. So, because sometimes the business will say we want to focus on this, but the data says there's a lot more volume here, for example.
Yeah, which is useful for them to know And you might say, yeah, okay, I know you want to focus on water damage restoration. There is very little volume on that. In the US, you're going to really have to, I know, run these, probably $100 a click. Okay. At like $10 a click, you can get a ton of these ones. And that's for them then to go, oh, okay. Yeah, there's not many of them. We are prepared to pay $100 a click. Fine, let's go for it. You get whatever, a few clicks a week. But that's interesting to know that so many people are looking for that. Let us go and have a think about that, because we could easily gear up to do that, whatever that is. I don't know. I can't think of, a joining service, and that could be news to them. Yeah.
How do you determine how competitive a certain service is, for example, in that campaign you're targeting? How do you determine how competitive a service is, for example, judged by the keyword data that you have? And also, I forgot the second one. I'll start with
That's okay. Right, the competitiveness, you'll be looking, right, so I will start with a same bid price across all keywords. So I'm comparing apples with apples, and then I can look at impression share loss due to rank, which is the quality score multiplied by the bid price. I know it's quality score, so quality score might be different for each of the keywords, but I just look at the rank part, think about the rank and go, okay, we're losing out 90% due to rank for that one. That one's losing out 90% due to budget. And $2 bid price across the board. So that one, $2 is, for the first one, $2 is just not enough to be bidding for that. For the other one, it's fine. You're just losing out on budget because we've got a 20-day budget. Then the other one you can look at is the impression, the position, the ad position. How often are you in position 1? And how often are you above the organic?
In the new interface.
Yeah. So you've got those two columns. How often are you in position 1? Absolute top ad position. Yeah. And if you're in absolute top ad position, like 70% of the time with your $2 bids, and you're like, oh, okay, we're bidding quite high, potentially maybe too high at the moment. For the one where actually it's only 1%, or you got 0% in position 1 at $2 bids, then that's quite competitive.
Okay, so that's what you look at. So
I'm looking at those.
Basically, the absolute top position.
Yeah, but I don't really report on those to the client. I'll say, look, that keyword, we're constrained because we don't have a big enough budget, but at that bid price, we could probably get if I see that the impression share is 20% and we lost 80% due to budget, I could say, look, we could increase the budget by 4 times and probably get, it never quite works out. We might get 4 times the number of clicks at the same cost per click. Whereas another one is like, right, at $2 bids, we can't get, even if we had an unlimited budget, we're not going to get any more. We have to increase bids. That's what they're interested in. The position part is less interesting, I suppose.
That was more indeed for me to, how do I read this data? And I got it. So because you bid all the same prices, you can see which one for the €2 gets you losing out, like which one has the highest top percentage, and then why am I losing impression share? Because of budget or because of rank? Okay. So then you've got your initial data, which services are popular, which services are also more competitive and which not. Where do you get the most bang for your buck? Then it's time to actually set up the proper campaigns with the informed business owner. It's easier, you say, to focus on a single service at first, for example, or narrow it down so everybody is on board and you can streamline the whole customer journey with the landing page and the ads. What does that process look like? How long does it usually take? So say first week is only just getting impression data. What's the process after that?
First off, you said it's time to set up the proper campaigns. You've actually set up the campaigns probably anyway to gather the data. It's now that what you're doing is, let's say you've got 10 services and you actually had 100 campaigns, like for 10 services in 10 counties, you'd have 110 campaigns, but we won't go into that. So we go, let's focus on family law in those 10 counties. I'll turn off all the other ones, just turn them off. So now, if those family law campaigns were constrained by budget and they were only showing 10%, 15% of the time, now they're going to show more because they got more of the budget. Okay, so first off, boom. And so without making any changes, just turning everything else off means we're now going to get more of those. Then what we do is, with the data we've already got, look to see what is the highest county search term, because some people type family law, some people type divorce law, some divorce solicitors, divorce lawyer firms, divorce attorney, right? What is the highest one? Which county? It's going to be County Dublin and Ireland because that's got most population. But which of the ones has the most volume? Right, okay. I'm going to pick that. Now I'm going to do the search myself because I'm in Ireland, I'll be able to see that. Or I'll use the ad preview tool if it still exists in the new interface. I haven't found it recently. And I'm going to pretend I'm in Dublin. I'm going to do the search. And now I'm going to look at all the ads and see what are they saying and what are we saying. Because when I created ads for 10 services, it was quite a generic ad. It would have been Dublin family lawyers, Dublin family solicitors, Dublin divorce lawyers. Then I'd have just put in contact us now, or I'd have just got blurb from their site and loaded it up and went, because at that stage, I don't want to get precious about creating ads when nobody's going to see them, if nobody's going to see them. But now I'm looking at everyone else's, and I'll do a screenshot of it, because that's quite compelling when, especially you send it to the client. Say, look, here's our ad, here's their ads. They're all saying this, or two of them have said, you know, we do Zoom consultations, and they'll be like, oh yeah, we do that. You know, okay, well, I could add that in as one of the headlines. We've got 15 headlines. I've only loaded 3 because I was going for speed. I can add in Zoom consultations available. What other things? And I'll be adding all those other things. I'll be filling out the ad now, all 15 headlines. I'll still be pinning to position 1, Dublin divorce lawyers, or whatever it is they've searched for.
Yeah.
But positions 2 and 3, I'm going to have like 14 different headlines that could show in those.
Yeah, and those are based upon what you're seeing the competition do and thinking about. Doesn't necessarily have to be a call to action or a USP. It could be all different kinds of things
also
to let them rotate.
An example is like doing water damage restoration in the US. Oh, they're saying like 1 hour response time. Oh yeah, we've got a 45-minute response time. I'm like, oh okay, I didn't see that on your website. Cool. And it's not a bad thing that they didn't do it. They just never thought that was useful. So I'll add all the things in. Obviously, I have to get their okay from them. Add them all in, because like when you look at, and it's not just from other people's ads, it's also from their landing page. You just look at the page and go, oh, they're saying this on the page, not on the ad, or maybe the ad I saw didn't say it, but another one does. I get all these little snippets, 30 character headlines, and I load them all up. And I might add, I've went from 2 descriptions to 4 descriptions, and I make all the descriptions different lengths. I don't try and max out everything, because then if you've got 90 characters description and 90 character description, only one of them is going to show on a mobile. If they're a bit short, if you've got a long one and short, mediums and short, then Google has the options to show 2 or whatever. So now I'm loading all those, but I wouldn't have done that for all 10 services. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to the client saying, right, I've noticed all your competitors saying 45-minute on-site response or 1 hour on-site response. Oh, we do like 24/7, on call, emergency call, or emergency phone number, or helpline, emergency helpline. Yeah. So, oh yeah, we do that. Oh, okay. And like locally owned and operated. Oh yeah, we're locally owned and operated. So I get all these things, load them all up, let those run. You'd hope that Google's then going to show, they're going to be split testing. They're going to be changing the order of them. And what they're going to do then is show the combination that gets the best clicks, best click-through rate. When you look at when you look at an ad, you can look at the combinations that have been shown. It won't tell you the click-through rate, but it'll tell you the percentage that is shown that combination. So the one that has the highest percentage, if it's a runaway winner, like 30-40%, and all the other combinations are like, what, 10, 5,
okay.
You go, oh, that's the one that appeals to people the most. And then I may go, well, depending on what it says, I may hard code that as an ad to beat the first ad, which has 15 combinations. Yeah, I'll just hard code ad headline. 1 is this, 2 is this, 3 is that. Description, 1 is this, and this 2 is this. Boom.
Oh, okay. So at first you fill in all the 15 headlines, with stuff you think could be competitive.
Yeah.
You let Google run it.
Yeah.
And then you see which one has the biggest share of, basically biggest impression share of that ad variation. And then you take that ad variation and you make it a single ad that you split test against the 15 variation Google one. That's kind of like a fake extended text ad that you create.
Yeah, which I start with those anyway. I start with just 3 headlines and 2 descriptions, but I do pin one of the headlines. And then from those learnings of what appeals to in the ad, you could then add it to the landing page as your bullet points.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I get that. How do you combat the fact that Google will really often not show like maybe the headline 10 to 15, like 1 to 10 gets impression and they take it in the testing. But I see a lot when I look at the assets that a few of the headlines just get 0 impressions. And
I assume that over long enough time. Oh, sorry, no, it's not time. It's not, with enough volume going through that ad, Google's decided not to show them because it's not going to get a good enough click-through rate. Because they're in there to make money, aren't they? They want clicks on the ad. So if they're not going to show them, I do presume that they've figured out that headline is just not going to work, so they don't bother.
Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to go in and actually test every single headline against each other, like with fake ETA.
Yeah, that's what we used. No. That would take way too long as well. Plus,
I know.
Plus, like if you have 3 headlines on a mobile, probably only 2 show anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. So with that order, I'm after. Some will be a runaway winner. Like that 45-minute on-site response is a big deal when you're on your phone and there's been flood in your kitchen. Your bathroom has come through into the kitchen, and you want to see that your town, when you searched water damage restoration, your town, or emergency plumber, your town, that's got to appear in the ad, and it's got to appear in the landing page, and 45-minute on-site response, and a big tapped call button.
Cool. So, and then if that you do the split test, you take the one that's shown the most by Google, you take it into a fake ETA, you compare it to the split test of Google, then if it beats it, you keep it, and if it doesn't beat it, you look at the second variation maybe.
If it doesn't beat it, I'll kind of, let's see, hold on, what normally happens? Normally I'll end up going, right, I normally want to be fairly consistent with what's coming through, because I want it to match what's on the landing page. Yeah. So once I get an idea of what it is, even if it just matches it, I will then hard code it, and I'll send those as bullet points. Send the headlines, headline 1, 2, and 3. No, headline 1 will be the title on the landing page, like Dublin divorce lawyers or Dublin divorce law or whatever. And then I might have a sub-headline and then 2 or 3 bullet points. They're all going to come from the ad now. Whatever the ad has said, I pass through to the page. And you can either speak to your web guy and get them to change the page, so they hard code it. But what we do is we pass by parameters in the URL, we pass it to the page, so it changes. So
from you as well.
Yeah, no, it's great. It means you as a media buyer can make a change to the landing page so it matches your ad without harassing your web developer every other second.
Yeah, and when looking at doing the competition analysis to figure out maybe what are they doing, what can we also show for, what are they showing on the landing page, you're eventually gonna end up either with all the same ads as the competition, or you're gonna come up with the best combinations of each.
You might end up with the best combination, because you're going to get ideas from like the top 4 ads, and then you might see some more than just 4 ads. You'll scroll down, see some more ads, you go, oh look, those lads have said this and nobody else has. So you could end up with the best of what everybody's saying. Yeah. But typically, like I think on the side 80-20, I think that's the 20% of it. 80% is your headline 1. Other people will not have, right? So if you're searching for family lawyers near me and you're in County Kildare, not many ads are actually going to say Kildare, what did I say, family lawyers. Yeah. They're just going to say family lawyer in the name or looking for blah, blah, blah. It's just not, people aren't very good at it on local. They just don't get granular enough. And the reason being, they don't want to create 10 campaigns, 1 per county. Yeah. Or getting even more granular, it might be like a fair amount of towns or cities in County Kildare. There are. I could create a campaign. I haven't, because they're very, very small, the cities here. Actually, I have done it for like washing machine repairs. I'll target people in the town of Naas, which is 26,000 people, the town of Newbridge. So if you're typing in washing machine repairs near me and you're in Newbridge, the ad will say Newbridge washing machine repairs. And that is what will beat everyone else.
Yeah, because you're using local service businesses and your marketing is generally going to beat their marketing skills.
Yeah.
That's why.
Because they're not there, like who, bless them, they're trying to do it themselves, or they've hired an agency they're not going to be able to afford a lot for the agency to do it. They're not going to, the agency won't have spent a lot of time on it. And actually most agencies won't do this anyway. They just think, well, what's the point? Why should I do it? The algorithm, Google's algorithm can figure it out for me. No, it can't figure out and can't create Newbridge washing machine repairs as a headline because you haven't got it anywhere in your account.
All right. I'm looking at time, so I'm going to also have to skip a little bit through the questions a bit quicker. There's a few ones I wanted to touch on anyway. So you're running your campaign now, the ones you're focusing on, and you're really allocating the budget into that campaign, trying to maximize for the impression share, obviously. At what point do you say, okay, now we've had enough impression share that it doesn't make sense anymore to keep bidding higher? Like 80-20 there as well, is 80% impression share enough? Or
okay, it's actually down to profitability at that point. Or, well, it might not be profitability, whatever the business targets are. You might not ever find out what profitability is, but they'll say, we want to get leads at €20 per lead, for instance. Okay, I actually do have a client, they're spending 28K a month. They want €20 leads. So I know how many, whatever, 1,700 leads or something or other a month. And I'm having a conversation with them where I'm saying, your budget shouldn't be 28K a month because we know in December it's going to be so much less search volume, but in November it'll be high, then really low in December, and then it's going to really go up in January. So really, if your goal is to get €20 leads, you should have an unlimited budget almost. You have a budget so in case something goes wrong in the account, it doesn't suddenly spend like 3, 4, 5 grand in a day of garbage. But you should allow, if there's peaks and troughs, you should allow the peak to actually still, the ads to still run throughout the whole day.
Have a buffer.
So instead of like, so December, maybe they're only going to spend 20K, but in January, it maybe could spend 50. At $20 leads. But but that business, their goal is to have €20 leads, as many as they can throughout the year. And I'm discussing with them saying, well, you shouldn't really have I shouldn't have a 28K a month cap. It should be the 300 odd K a year budget, and I should spread it and try and get you as many, make hay while the sun's shining. And then the months where it's like a drought, well, that's just the way it is. But another business might be, no, we want to have a stable number of leads throughout each month, in which case some months it's going to be cheaper because there's so much search volume that we can actually have a lower cost per click and lower cost per lead to come in with 100 leads or whatever it is. But then the next month where it's really quiet, we're going to have to really be aggressive with the bids and get into top ad position and pay it more to get the same number of leads to keep the guys on the road or whatever it is they're doing, you know?
Yeah.
Did that answer the question? I know I kind of...
It does on the further stage. I'm actually a little bit before there. It's like when you're still gathering conversion data, you don't know what the conversion actually cost, what a lead cost for the business at that point. And you're just trying to get as much traffic through your funnel at that point because the ads are now being tested and your landing page is optimized. I thought it was pointless, at least with manual bidding, to always get 100% impression share because you're really going to pay for that you're going to bid for the really extremely expensive clicks, but maybe a lot of the times they don't need to be that expensive.
Okay, right. So you're unlikely to get 100% impression share, but there's going to be an amount they're prepared to pay per lead or inquiry, or there's going to be a point where they're saying we're spending too much, we're not getting enough out of it. Even if they haven't got conversion tracking in place, they don't know how much conversion is costing, but they're like, we're spending 500 a week and we're just not getting enough calls and they're not converting, or whatever it is, in which case you're just going to have to dial it back. Okay. But the way to dial it back is instead of like reducing the daily budget and having the same cost per click. So instead of getting 20 clicks a day, you only get 10. Just reduce the bids. So that you get more, you could actually get more clicks per day if you're constrained by budget. It's really counterintuitive, but I sometimes say, look, we need to reduce your bids so you can get more volume. And they're like, what? We can reduce your bids, get more volume, but because your cost per click is lower, if the conversion rate stays the same, your cost per lead should be lower. And even if I'm flying blind, we're all flying blind and we don't know which leads currently are coming from Google Ads, which phone calls are coming from Google, we haven't dialed all that part in yet. They just have a gut feel that it's just too expensive, right? Okay, I can drop it all back. And in fact, if you keep dropping the bids, the traffic, I hate using the word traffic, but it starts drying up. because your impression share starts falling and your position starts falling, your click-through rate starts falling. It all just starts drying up. And there will be a point where your bids are too low and it's just gone, but you need a bit. So I will be focused more on what is the cost per click. Yeah. And trying to maximize the number of clicks as long as the search terms don't change. Sometimes like if you're bidding too broad, if you're bidding in broad match and you start dropping the cost per click bids, then the actual search terms that you show for get less and less valuable. They're further away from what you're hoping they would be. Whereas if you're using phrase or exact, then you should still be showing for the same search intent.
Right. So you just agree with the business owner, this is what we're willing to spend per week. And as long as you have a feeling that it's bringing in enough leads, we can just keep upping the budget until we hit a maximum. Until
because really at the end of the day, it's how happy they are with how things are going. And also there's phases. Like at the start, I'll tell business, you're in a budget mentality. At this moment, we're in budget mentality, budget mode. What is the budget that you've got that you can spend per month while we dial this in? Hopefully we're getting leads, cover all that, but the goal, the deliverable of this month or two, blah, blah, is to set up the system where it's bringing in the leads. And then once we can prove that they get an ROI on it, then we go to ROI mentality, from budget mentality of like, ooh, this is all we can afford to spend to. And they all always say this, we will spend as much as we can if we're getting profited, if we're profitable. They'll always say that. But you've got to get to that point.
Yeah.
I say, well, until we get to the point, we have a budget mentality. We're going to keep the budget low while we're trying to dial this in. And then, which typically means lower cost per click, more volume. But lower cost per click, typically less volume, depending on what the budget is. But then I'll say what we'll do is we're trickling all these visitors through the little funnel. There's leaks in it. We're going to start plugging the leaks best we can. Oh, okay, your button didn't work. We need to fix that. Oh, now you get more inquiries. Or the button that says get a quote should actually just say contact us now. And more people have started, contacting you, etc. So we plug all that, and what that means is the cost they get more conversions per day for the same number of clicks. Each conversion then costs less, and it means they can therefore afford to pay more per click now. So then you open the tap at the top and start bidding more, which increases the impression share and increases the ad position, starts getting you more volume coming through. But it's exponential. Your costs will go up exponentially because each click will cost more and you're going to get more clicks. And then conversely, as you dial it down and you close the tap at the top of the funnel, it falls off a cliff. Your spend falls off a cliff.
Do you ever switch to an automated bidding strategy?
Yep, we'll do. But you can't at the start because you haven't got any conversions. And often you don't trust the conversion tracking, or there isn't anything set up. So you have to get it set up or believe it's working, because it's showing conversions in the account doesn't mean that they're actually no, we didn't get those calls. What are you talking about? Or we didn't get those leads. You've got to fix all that. And then once it's running and they're happy and everyone's happy that it's close enough, and then you get enough data. But by that point, you've set up an account where you've been manually adjusting bids, potentially going, oh, that campaign where people are looking by family lawyers, it costs more, is worth more than whatever, like criminal law. I don't know which is worth more, but we're prepared to pay more per click for those than those. Okay, so you go into the campaign, got blanket bid price. Oh, that €2 and now going to increase to €5 or €10, whatever. Happy there. So you're manually adjusting these bids across the campaigns. But your campaigns are very, very granular and very targeted. Family lawyers only goes to that one. It doesn't go to the criminal law one by accident. So you've got this structure. It starts getting conversions. You believe the conversions. You don't want to start adjusting the bids all the time for everything. So you could say, right, Google, maximize conversions for us. We want as many conversions as possible.
Okay.
That is kind of assuming that all conversions are equal, but like it might not be, in which case you separate them out. And, okay, so family law is separate from some other type of drink driving or whatever. Might set them different. Typically, so that's what we'll often go to, is maximize conversions with a target CPA.
How much data do you need to have in the account before you can switch?
I can't remember what officially is. It's like 100 conversions, or is it 30 conversions? It's not much, but I prefer. I would have had a lot more conversions manually.
Like in a total or in a time period?
In a total.
Oh, just total.
Or whatever you're going to set, whatever you're going to give to Google for them to manage. There is a minimum. I think it's quite low. I find it low, a low number. Is it 30, 100? I don't. But typically, I've got plenty of them because I've been manually making these changes and fiddling, getting the conversion tracking working, and getting the data, speaking to them back and forth, and then it's like, and then the reason why we go to maximize conversions is to see if Google now can do a better job than me of adjusting bids. Not just adjusting bids, it's more than that, because they'll have other intent and signals about who's a better buyer. Do people convert better on mobile than desktop or whatever it is? So they'll figure all that out. And at that point, I'm like, I don't want to split all my campaigns and adjust bids by depending on the device. I don't want to. They're better at that than me, so I'll let them do that. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you go, no, I'm taking control back. That's really poor. Why is the cost per click just tripled? It's ridiculous. And now we're losing tons of impression share due to budget. That's not Google dialing it in, maximizing conversions.
No.
Yeah. So I'll take it back sometimes.
Until that point, you keep the manual bidding by yourself. Do you then keep still a blanket bid price? So you found a campaign you want to focus on. You're doing the A/B testing. You're maximizing for the volume as long as it's profitable. Are all the keywords in that campaign still on a blanket price, or usually, are you going to individually start changing them?
Usually they are, and in fact, often they're a blanket bid price across the whole account. And I'm just adjusting that bid price. It's weird, isn't it? Like, it might have 20,000 keywords, all like €2 bids, and I go, okay, we're losing a lot of impression share due to budget. Let's drop the bids. Now we're at this, now at that, and I'm seeing, and then I'll go in and start fine tuning and go, oh, that campaign, we're in a very high ad position. And let's drop those bids. We're actually too high, I think, pay more than we need to per click. We'll go in and drop them for the whole campaign. And the reason why, it might sound weird, like you might have 2,000 keywords in a campaign in the UK for 2,000 cities for whatever, immigration lawyers or something like that. Immigration lawyers London. I'm assuming that those keywords are pretty much all the same value. It's the same keyword. It's immigration lawyer with allocation. Yes, some cities like London might do better than like a smaller city up north in England where, the average salary might be lower or whatever. But I'm assuming that the ticket value of the whatever that's being sold is similar and they're worth the same. So they're almost the same keyword to me. It's immigration lawyer plus location. I've just expanded it out, so I've got 2,000 locations. So they will typically have the same bid price, and I'll be able to say in my little change log, we increased the bids of the immigration law stuff from €2 to £2 to £5, and then next week they go, oh yeah, that really worked, or they go, no, nothing happened. Yeah, it's just easier for me in the business to go, oh, okay, versus well, we changed this to this and this. But then over time, the ideal is they do get changed because maybe the London stuff is worth more and it is more competitive. You have to pay a bit more. Yeah. And then in some other city, actually, we're in top ad position all the time. We're overpaying. We don't need to be in top ad position.
Yeah. Then it comes back down to how much are they willing to pay for a lead?
Yeah.
Or how many leads do they need in a certain
time. But that's the sort of thing where, it becomes a bit of an art as well, isn't it? Not just science. Like, even if you just said Google maximize conversions, they might try and get all the conversions up in an area where it's lower ticket. So then it's, you might have to split them out and go, right, these are separate from those. These are the high ticket, those low ticket locations or whatever. Or maybe you set up or you capture or feedback what the actual value was, the price of the job. Yeah, somehow if you can get into that. But you want to keep it as simple as possible initially, and having the bids the same is very simple to explain to the client. Oh, the bids for family law currently are like £2.50 or £5. We can increase to £7.50 or £10. You'll therefore pay this per thing, and they all know. Oh, okay. So on average, all these different locations. It's easier for them to understand, easier for you to understand, easier for you to then make changes and see what effect it has.
Cool. Okay.
It does simplify things. I know, like, a lot of Google Ads folks will be in horror. Oh my God, all the keywords are the same bid price. It's like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
because it's all about how much the lead costs, and you're going to average it out the volume across all the different campaigns, or at least if you.
Yeah, and the client will start saying, oh, by the way, can we not run ads in that location because all those leads that come through, they're really not good. How can we have more on that location? It's like, okay, cool. Right. For instance, a law firm, we have 3 offices. Can we actually increase the bids of where we have the offices, the towns that will see that they have the offices, and the ones around it, the satellite ones, can we have the bids a bit lower?
Yeah, right, that makes sense. So I just realized now, when you initially load this whole list of keywords that you got out of the planner, there could also just be rubbish ones in there if it's a big list. So I suppose you still kind of go through it and
well, I'm not really loading them all. What I'm doing is I download from Keyword Planner all the different keywords, and I'll do the same sort of categorization. A lot of them have near me in them. A lot of them have locations. Okay, people search with a location or near me. That's interesting. Then I'll find the main services that people search for, because the client will say, "Oh, we sell car insurance." But no, we sell motor insurance. And you go, "Oh, everyone searches car insurance though, or van or bike." They don't say motor insurance. So these are the words for your services. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
And then from that data, I will probably construct keywords. I don't upload all those 1,500. I will create them. I'll be like, oh, people search for, mortgage broker and town. I don't know if they do mortgage broker town. Right. How many towns have we got? In the UK, we're 40,000. Fine, let's load 40,000. That'll do. Yeah. And it's like most of them get no volume, but some will be like, who would have thought so many people looking for mortgages in that location? But anyway, fine, we got the volume. So I won't load just any old. I will scan them first and upload them based on the
themes, basically.
Yeah.
All right. And regarding conversion goal, like I can set up a tracking, but have never really heard you talk about the different conversion goals they're in, and at which level maybe they're. Could you explain more about conversion goals?
Okay, right. I actually don't set them up. My developer does. But what we do is we'll set up a secondary conversion of people clicking the button to start the contact us form. So we have a button. We don't have an inline form where it's opened up. It's a button, because we're going to split test what the button says. And the button is typically what's in the ad. Yeah, contact us will be in the ad. They click, they want to contact us. Get a quote, it's in the ad. They click if they want to get a quote. You'd hope if they read it. Yeah, so we set that up. So we have a conversion of like people clicking it. We make that a secondary conversion. We don't Google to optimize for it, unless there's so few conversions, in which case we might say try and maximize that. But we don't really get to that stage. And then we have people filling in the form and submitting it. I hate the word submit, but anyway, sending the form, and that is tracked as a primary conversion. And we will report on all of those metrics to the client. And for me, the media buyer, to try and figure out what's going on. So I'll be like, oh, this is the number of searches, impression divided by impression share. This is the impressions. This is the clicks. This is the number of people, the clicks as visitors that hit the page. This is the number of people who click the button to start the form. This is the number of people submitted. I'll go, so there's conversion rates at each of those steps.
Yeah, okay, that makes total sense. And in the account itself, when you add a conversion goal in the account, does it matter which type you select, or are they all equal just depending if you select them as a primary or secondary?
No, they're just going to get tracked. But like if it's primary and you say maximize conversions, it will only maximize for primary conversions.
Right.
So you're tracking secondary conversions, but you're not. If you tell Google to maximize conversions or come in at target CPA, it's not going to use those ones. I've got a dog. We wanted to go for a walk now. Bless.
Yeah, let me know, because I have a whole bunch of more questions, but we also.
Yeah, we right. I think we'll go for a walk with the dog, and we can finish this off another time. Yeah, we'll have some more questions, and we'll find a time that suits you a bit better.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. This has already been massively helpful. What's his name? Bella?
Bella, yes. Hey, Bella. Okay. All right. Good to speak to you. These are very good questions. Thanks. I hope this is recorded, because I will show it up somewhere.
Oh, man, I hope so too. Yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Good luck, Andy.
Bye. Bye.